Hey guys, this is Sean from HZad Education, and today we're going to talk about CELPIP. It's chapter 1 or episode 1 of my 7-episode series that I promised yesterday. We're going to talk about everything to do with writing today. That's our topic for today. And please subscribe to my channel because you will be getting another 6 episodes that will cover everything on all the other modules. And would you really need classes after this? Most likely, yes. Most likely you would still need expert opinion. One-on-one feedback is a different thing. However, my aim with YouTube and on these videos is to give you guys as much material as I can in terms of advice and structure. So if you don't want to invest in lessons, you want to, of course you want to save and you want to learn as much as you can on your own. These 7 series or 7 episodes will give you a very good clue about what you should do. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so you can get the updates on the next upcoming videos. Without further ado, let's get this thing started. Writing. With writing, when we start with students, the very first thing that we teach them is brainstorming. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a description of my other video. It's not a long video, it's just 3 minutes long, but I'm going to put that in the link. So you guys can click on that video in the link. Then you would be directed to my video where you have a description of where you can find my material. So just listen to that video. You have all my material there. Okay, so you will find in my material CELPIP writing topics, templates, and speaking templates. So writing templates and speaking templates. Now, when you look at the CELPIP writing topics in that link, all you gotta do is brainstorm. So there's going to be task 1 and task 2 questions. What you should do is look at a question for task 1 and look at the bullet points, all right? There should be 3 bullet points mostly. So our aim is for each bullet point, you think of 2 points. So let's say one bullet point is you're complaining to someone. So one bullet point is describe the situation. So your 2 points that you can brainstorm are: the situation was I went to the restaurant at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. The second bullet point for the second point for that first bullet, you're brainstorming. It could be something like, I was quite shocked and disappointed to see what is in front of me. Okay, not too much detail because we're just describing the situation. We're not getting into the detail because usually the second bullet would be describe the problem. So for describe the problem, let's come up with 2 points. Well, problem number 1, firstly, you had a lot of dirt and the sanitary conditions were terrible. Fine. Number 2, the servers were very rude to us when we came in. There was somebody welcoming us. 2 points. Now, the third bullet point in the question says, suggest a solution. Now, it's a solution, so you gotta just do 1, but I still have to think of 2 points. 1 could be, well, you can hire better employees, just like roughly, you can hire better employees or and try to get rid of or terminate the current staff. Point number 2 would be, if that doesn't work, then try training the current staff. So we're still suggesting the same solution, but we're like, if that doesn't work, then again, staff related, you can have this too. So we have 2 points. We have 2 points per bullet. So bullet 1, 2 points. Bullet 2, 2 points more, and bullet 3, now you have 6. So you have 6 points in total for task 1. That is more than enough for task 1, and it's just 1 sentence per point. So each body paragraph has 2 sentences, and we're brainstorming. We're not writing anything down. We're brainstorming the 2 points that we could use for those body paragraphs. You do this for your letter, email, whatever you call it. You do this for one topic, the next topic, and so on. Do this for all the topics in that website, in that material that I have, for all the topics, for all letter topics. There's lots of them. So practice that. Your timing should be 2 to 3 minutes only. So when you look at these topics, your brainstorming time should only be 2 to 3 minutes because in the exam you don't have more time than this. Now, when you're going to go to your task 2, you look at those topics. For that, you want to make sure that body 1 has 2 positive points about your opinion. Body 2 has 2 negative points about the other side. So let's say the survey question is, should I build a shopping mall or a forest? I'm going to pick shopping mall, and I'm going to think of 2 positive points for shopping mall for body 1 which are going to be build a shopping mall, it'll create employment. Number 2, build a shopping mall, it'll create entertainment. These 2 points will go in my body 1. The negative points about the forest will go in my body 2, which are going to be 2 again. So forestation, well, if you make a forest, there's a risk of wildfire for everybody around. The next is forests take a long time to grow and develop. The shopping mall could be built much faster, so the short-term gain is lesser in the shopping mall, in the forests. Now I got 2 and 2 points. I'm just brainstorming, and this once again should take you 2 to 3 minutes. Do this with one question, the next question, and so on. So what we're doing now is we're brainstorming. When people actually do this in the exam, they take a lot of time. So we're trying to speed this up. We're trying to also make our minds think creatively. Every person who scores 9, 10, the maximum marks, everybody brainstorms. And most people write it down. So that's why I'm mentioning this roughly. I'm not giving you complete sentences. I'm just saying, like, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. It's just brainstorming. It's just a good practice for our brain so we know what points we're going to cover. Okay, so challenge yourself to do this. When you start doing it, 2 to 3 minutes might be hard. Maybe you'll start with 5 minutes, but by doing all those topics, you want to come to 2 to 3 minutes. What else was I going to say? Because this is a complete course, basically. You're getting on YouTube, so I want to make sure it's all good. Brainstorming. Okay, so you're doing that. Now what's going to happen, the interesting that's going to happen is after 10-ish topics, you will recognize that most of the things that you used, most of the points you used for one question, you can replicate them in other questions. For example, the question about shopping mall. I said one point is about jobs, right? So you can get jobs if you're in a shopping mall. Then let's say you have another question. Should we bring history in school teaching, or the other option, no? So you're doing this history thing and you're supporting it. One point could be, yeah, you should have history because it's going to bring jobs. It's going to create jobs, right? So that jobs thing can be used in so many places. And with brainstorming, you would realize that, and that's how you'll get faster in thinking and in the exam as well. So just like jobs, there are some topics that you can pay attention to. Get a pen and paper right now, because I'm going to tell you a few things. Please write down these words: social, environmental, jobs, or economy. You can put jobs or economy. Environment, I said that. So ethical, political, historical, and traditional. Am I missing health? If I didn't say health, definitely put health. Globalization. Okay. These 8 main points are enough for you to brainstorm. You don't have to think of all of them. You just have to think of a few. So any topic that you get, you can relate to these pointers and get ideas. If you're totally lost, remember this list and you'll get ideas. For example, the question is about should we take the kids out for camping for the school activity, or take them on a knowledgeable field trip? Let's say you select camping. One thing, you can talk about health. So yes, if they are camping outside, it's good for them. If they're going to breathe natural air, so it's good. Health, you get a point there, right? Jobs, nothing about jobs here. Politics, no, there's nothing about nothing political here. Environment, if you do camping, you're actually ruining the environment, so no. Can you talk about ethics? Not really. Can you talk about education? Or, well, we talked about health already. We can talk about education. So it's a good educational experience. You don't need to go to a field trip for education. You can go to camping. You would know survival in nature. And that's where those keywords, education, science, history, everything, these things will help you come up with points. So refer to this list whenever you think of things, whenever you're brainstorming, and you can use this to think of some really good points. Not only there, but even when you're giving examples to certain points, you can use the structure. Speaking of structure, let's jump to the next part of our writing, structure. The structure for essays for the task 2 is simple. As I mentioned, body 1 has 2 positive points about your topic. Body 2 has 2 negative points about the other side. Introduction has the reason for selecting the opinion. So you say, I believe that this option would be much better considering social reasons, environmental reasons, whatever you plan to say later. The conclusion rephrases the intro. Okay, I'll go more in this on this later. Task 1, the structure, there's no date or subject we mention in CELPIP. So all you would do is dear sir, madam, dear whoever you're addressing. Sometimes it's mentioned in the question who you have to address. So dear, comma, name, and then comma. Now you have 5 paragraphs. There's intro, conclusion, and the 3 body paragraphs. So for the 3 body paragraphs we have already discussed, you make 2 points per body, okay? Then you finish it off with informal letters, informal letters, best regards or best wishes, your first name only, that's it, just the first name. Formal letters, yours sincerely, yours truly, your full name, because it's formal. Make sure it's in separate lines, okay? Best regards, name, yours sincerely, and name. 2 lines. Now, this is the overall structure, and I don't want to get too much into the templates because once again, there are videos on my channel for templates. I don't want to make this too long. So for the template videos, you can again go in the description first of all. That has the templates written down. So that's the best resource to look at them. How you start your intro or conclusion for task 1 and task 2, you can refer to that. That'll help you immensely. However, if you want to see me talk, you want to hear how I've used templates before, please go on my channel, type out writing templates, speaking templates, you'll see them. That I've explained how to use them. But in the link in my description, you will see the written form. Okay, so now you have mastered brainstorming. You know exactly how to put points and what points to put. You have the structure, you have the templates. You should really be okay now. However, you won't be, because you don't know if you're writing the right thing at the end of the day. And that's why I again request you guys to subscribe to my channel, because I have to cover that in future videos, one step at a time. I'm going to cover how you can check vocab and grammar on your own. It's not as effective as sessions and teaching. That's very different. That's where you actually properly learn everything. But there's a way, there's a loophole, there's a way to check this on your own. So I'm going to teach you that on my day 3 and day 4. Day 2, which is tomorrow, I'm going to upload speaking templates, speaking templates and guide, just like what I did with writing today. And we'll get into some more learning. Okay, for now, what I'd like you guys to do is practice brainstorming with all the topics that are in the link in the description. Then start writing with the templates, start doing some writings. Try at least 5 writings for task 1 and 5 for task 2. Save it and leave it. We'll come back and I'll talk about how you can check it. But do this, follow the steps in my videos, in my series for the 7 days. Follow them one by one, and I can assure you, you will improve immensely and you will have a huge change in your scores. So try that. This is what we're doing for day 1. Day 2, I'll let you guys know what to do next. Until then, feel free to subscribe, leave a comment if you have any questions, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Hey guys, this is Sean from HZad Education, and today we're going to do our day 2 of our CELPIP Crash Course. Yesterday we did day 1 and we discussed writing. If you haven't seen that video, please feel free to do so. I mentioned lots of tips there, very interesting things about brainstorming, making the right templates, using the right structure, and that's the aim of this whole crash course in the 7 days, to teach you everything you need to know for your CELPIP exam. Today we're going to tackle speaking and discuss those things. In these videos, I'm also talking about self-evaluation, how you have to mark yourself, what you can expect the examiner to see, and a lot of criteria that I'm going to be discussing in the next 5 more days after today. So for today, our menu is speaking, and we're going to talk about all 8 topics of CELPIP speaking. I will not discuss the templates though, because I have uploaded multiple videos on that now. If you want to see the template details, please look at my YouTube channel, search for the videos with the templates, and you'll get tons of info there. I just don't want to repeat myself, especially for people who have seen those discussions already. So what I'm going to discuss today are things regarding brainstorming, which again I mentioned in my video yesterday. If you haven't seen it, please do so. And I'm going to talk about brainstorming for CELPIP speaking, plus the marking criteria, as well as how you can talk more efficiently in the kind of courses we teach. So again, learning in a course is much more different, because then you would have a teacher giving you your personal feedback. However, I'm going to try to tell you how you can give yourself some feedback if you don't want to take any lessons and you want to just learn from YouTube, which is totally fine. We're going to start with questions 1, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to group them together because these are questions which are supposed to be spoken naturally. So when people are talking, they mostly make a mistake in being natural. That's the biggest problem. You guys have to understand that there is a mark for tone in CELPIP. So if you are talking to a friend, but you're talking like a robot, like you're just reading things, you're not being friendly, you will lose a mark. For example, question number 1, it says your friend is about to lose weight and you gotta give him some suggestions. So if you remember our template, we do 3 points to give suggestions in the first answer. Now, if I think that this person is a real life person, it's my friend, his name is Harry, he's actually obese, and I have to advise him to lose weight, I'm gonna tell him things very differently. Like, I'm not gonna say, you know, Harry, you should go to gym, you should work out, you know, that's what we start doing. But since I know Harry, what I'm gonna say is, firstly, you should really go to a gym, and I understand that you changed your job and you're completely stressed out with work. However, all you gotta do is, instead of waking up at 10 a.m., just wake up 1 hour early at 9 a.m. That's just 1 hour before your usual wake up time. Can't be that hard. And then you can go to the gym for 1 hour, etc. So the reason I know he wakes up at 10 a.m. is because this guy is a real life person, and I know that he actually has that kind of schedule. By relating to this, I am able to be natural. I'm not pausing because I'm like talking to a friend. When I'm talking to a friend, I don't need preparation time. I don't need pausing time. So all those problems go away. Plus, I have more things to talk about because I know this guy. I can even talk about how the gym is 5 minutes away from your home. I can even talk about how you gained 20 pounds in the last 6 months. So I can talk about multiple things because I know this person. That's why being natural and assuming that you're talking to a real person can do wonders for your speech. Same thing for questions 6, 7, and 8. Basically, be natural and assume you're actually talking to a real person. Now, you might think of question number 7. That is not talking to a real person. That's an argument, right? But you still have to think you're talking to a real person. Let me tell you why. When you do question 7, you have a debate. So let's say the topic is smoking is bad for you, and you agree, okay? So when people are generally talking, they're gonna say smoking is bad because it's bad for the health, it damages the liver, it's not really good, etc. Very robotic. It's not gonna give you a 9 or 10. For a 9 or 10, you need to make it a debate, you need to make it aggressive. How you do that is assume that there's a person sitting in front of you, and he or she is saying that smoking is excellent. And now you are fighting with that person verbally. So if you do that, you will have more intensity, you will have more aggression. You're not gonna say things like, you don't know what you're talking about, I'm right. We're not saying that. We're just thinking we're talking to this person. Now, how the tone will change is, I personally really believe that people who support smoking, they don't really look after their health, because with smoking, you're damaging your liver, you're damaging your kidneys and your heart. We don't want a life like that, right? So you see, I'm assuming I'm talking to a person. So I'm like, we don't want that kind of life, right? Now I give this a variety. I give the examiner a range of sentences. I'm talking like this. I'm saying, you don't want this, you don't want this. So I'm again giving a range of sentences. My second point, I'll change up my range of sentences, and then I'm gonna be talking more about something like, secondly, just assume that you go out and smoke for 30 days and just do an x-ray. Check it again, you would notice your heart is whatever, right? So again, it feels like I'm talking to this person, but I'm not really talking to a person. I'm just making myself believe that. And by doing that, I get naturally more aggressive, I get more things to say, and I don't feel the pressure of the exam. I feel like I'm talking naturally. Okay, so 1, 6, 7, 8, these questions speak naturally. With the materials you guys have for CELPIP speaking, you might have the ones from Paragon that are free, you might have purchased some, or if you're taking classes with us, we provide materials for free. So when you see the questions, try to brainstorm multiple situations. So the one question is, advise your friend on losing weight. So you're giving 3 points. Don't just think of 3 points, think of 6 points. Okay, think of 10 points. Because if you have a lot of points in your brain is able to think faster. And when it comes to the exam, you have very little time for preparation. Let's be honest, the preparation time is 90% reading the question and 10% actual preparation time. So your brain should be thinking fast then. If you can train your mind to push itself, think of 10 points when 3 are needed. Think of, well, let's say with question number 8, you need maybe 3 points as well. Yeah, 2 to 3 points. So again, think of 10 points and then 3 will become easy. So try brainstorming that way too. Think that you are actually given 5 minutes to talk and you have to give 10 points instead of 3. That should really help out. Okay, let's go on to question 2. So with question 2, again, templates are mentioned before. You have a structure, you can see that in my videos. Just one thing I'll mention, when you guys define the thing that's being asked, like talk about a possession, talk about your favorite vacation spot, etc., just do 2 points, okay? Don't try to, like, if you talk about your car, your favorite car, don't say it has a radio, it has a Bluetooth, it has sunroof, it has... Don't do too much, because you have only 1 minute. The examiner doesn't really care about the content, trust me. This is an English test, not a knowledge test. If you can do a good intro, a good conclusion, you have fancy connectors in between, and you say things correctly with the right grammar, that's more than enough. In terms of answering this question, all you got to do is think of 2 main points. For example, your car, it is equipped with a lot of tech features which make the use of the car very convenient, including things like Bluetooth and hands-free. That's it, 1 point. I'm not going into the detail that I can turn on my Bluetooth from my cell phone. No, not all of that. And the second point is the car drives very smooth. It just moves on the road as if I was swimming on water, and it feels very natural. I love the way it drives. That's it. Okay, this is enough for features. So guys, for question number 2, go in my template and read it and understand, but also just use 2 to 3 points maximum. Don't say much. You only have 1 minute. If you say like 10 points and do intro and conclusion, you will be in a bit of a mess. Okay, questions 3 and 4, the picture question. So I've mentioned this before in my template, that you have to make sure you use a lot of connectors. Some good connectors are furthermore, likewise, moreover, also, accordingly, other than that, on top of that, more, or what is that? What's more? Okay, these are some good connectors because you're going to be connecting a lot of things, right? So that's a good one. I wanted to give you a little different, not a different template, but I wanted to give you an advice. When examiners are checking your speaking, they're looking for a range of sentences, right? And the aim of this crash course is to help you guys understand what is needed so you can just make the range of sentences by yourself. Now, if I start question number 3, and I'm describing the picture, you start with the intro, right? That in this picture I can notice, whatever. Now, your next sentence should be an adjective, okay? It should have an adjective. It should be something like, on the top right, the gentleman who looks to be very sophisticated is trying to make wine. Now, I called him sophisticated because I'm trying to put an adjective. The very next sentence, I'm going to say an adverb. So now I'm going to say, moreover, his wife is irritatingly asking him to get out of the bar. So now, irritatingly, I'm putting a ly, I'm putting an adverb. So now I got my mark for adjective and adverb. I got my range of sentences, and now I can continue talking about the picture. I'm not worried anymore. And then the minute will run out quick, so you don't have to keep doing it again and again, but at least 1 sentence with 1 adjective, 1 sentence with 1 adverb, and that should give you the mark for your range of sentences. This is for parts 3 and 4. For part 5, okay, so again, part 5, we've talked about it in depth in my templates. Again, please look at that video. Now, a few pointers again, because in part 5, we're trying to do many things, trying to do the right English, of course, but also get a range of sentences. At the same time, we're trying to compare and convince. I cannot tell you guys to be natural here. Even though you're talking to a person, the issue is there is so much written already in the pointers that our job is to finish the points first. Not just our points in our picture, but also comparing them with the other picture. So you can't really be natural, like make up stuff, just like I was making up stuff of waking up at 10 a.m. and 9 a.m. Here you have to read it from the points, but it's easy. You want to start by saying that, hello, whoever. Now I understand you wanted to go with this option, but I truly believe that this other option is better. Okay, so you start with that. Now, when you're comparing, you want to do at least 2 sentences this way. You can say, it's reasonable. I get it that it's reasonable to have this feature that you have. However, in my option, I have this. The next sentence should be something like, I also love the fact that you have whatever. Nevertheless, I can't get over the feeling that we need whatever. So if you put 2 sentences like these, you are comparing what you have. You admit that he has this, but I have this. We need 2 of those because the examiner is seeing if you can compare. So you put these 2 sentences, you have that fancy intro that I mentioned earlier. It shows the examiner that you are fully focused on comparison and you can use the right words to compare. I'm mixing it up too. If you notice what I said, I was saying that I love the fact that you have this, nevertheless I have whatever. Nevertheless is fancy. It's good. Love is not. But I put it there intentionally because you need to make it natural in terms of the vocab, but at the same time not basic. So we keep throwing all the positive things to the examiner to show that we have a range and we can do any sort of sentence. So by doing that, it'll help you get that range mark, the comparison mark, the tone mark, vocab mark, every mark that's out there. And that's pretty much it. So that's our lesson today. If you guys do these strategies, you will have everything that the examiners require from you. How will you judge now that you're on the right track? Well, just by implementing all of these things, you'll be much better. Whatever score you had, you'll definitely increase 1 point with these suggestions. But how can you tell for sure? Well, firstly, there are different things you're being marked on. If you want to write it down, you can. Actually, please do so, because you will have to evaluate yourselves. The things you're marked on are clarity, how clear you are when you're talking, then response, did you answer the question correctly? Then in CELPIP, it's the timing as well, did you finish on time, and did you start like after half a minute was passed? No, you should start when it starts. So timing is important. Pronunciation is not, so accent does not matter. Grammar is super important. Grammar is marked. Vocabulary, of course, it's marked. Structure is marked, how organized you are. And I would say structure and conjunctions, like connectors, are very closely related, because if you have good connectors, you would have a good structure. Intro and conclusion, the style of that matters too. That's marked as well. Finally, the tone is marked. So if you're being natural or robotic, etc. By the way, range of sentences are marked, and I didn't mention that because vocab and range of sentences are the same mark. So when you evaluate yourself, you want to speak, record it on a sound recorder on your phone, listen to it and play it, and look at these pointers and think, if you were the examiner, what mark you would give yourself. Do not compare this with the sample answers you see online. I don't want to mention the name of the company again, but I've mentioned that before, that don't compare it with the samples online that claim that this is a level 10, level 12. They're really bad samples actually, so don't rely on those. The most accurate thing I can promise is myself. So on my YouTube videos, the samples you have seen me doing, compare it to that. I don't think 12 is achievable. And when I did my CELPIP exam, I got an 11 in speaking. So it's not impossible to get a 12, but it is pretty difficult. So I would say my level would be 11, although I want to say it's 12, but let's say on my videos it's 11. Take that as the top, as the pinnacle, and compare your speaking with that. If it's close to it, if it marks and matches all the criteria that I mentioned, you're good. You can go ahead and do the exam. But if not, if you're still struggling, you need to do some classes. For that, you can, of course, always contact me. My email is always in the description. You can also comment if you need any help. And you can visit our website at www.HZadeducation.com for more details about our lessons. So that's pretty much it. I guess this will really help you in speaking, and just practice it more and more. Brainstorming, doing the templates, the strategies, then recording and evaluating yourself. That's all you need, and that should really help you out. Until next time, guys, if you found this video useful, feel free to subscribe, feel free to share, and I'll talk to you guys very soon. Take care. Guys, this is Sean from HZad Education, and today we're going to do the part 3 of our crash course. But before we get into that, I have exciting news. HZad Education has now partnered up with World Vision. If you haven't heard of that, you're really missing out. World Vision is one of the best charities in the world, and what they do is they help mostly children and also communities that are poverty stricken. They provide them food, education, water, essential necessities that really change lives of these people. What we're doing is we're partnering up with them so that we can contribute to their initiative with our own social initiative. So what you guys have to do is, if you feel like today you're in the mood to help out, to donate a little sum of money, we have this link on our website, which is going to be in the description. You can go on there and make a $5 to $10 donation, and it's all going to go to World Vision that is going to use it to upgrade the level of different communities and also to help a lot of people in need. If you're taking our lessons, you can top it up with a little donation, and this is just another step for us to help others and for us to also feel a little better. You know, when you give to other people, you feel better about yourself, you feel better about helping out. So if you have any questions about that, do let me know. I'll be happy to answer so we could go out there and do our own social responsibility. I will be doing that as a business, and you guys could contribute as well if you feel like you're in the mood for doing that today, tomorrow, anytime. The link will be in the description for those donations. All right, let's move on to our crash course. Today's day 3. We have been talking about writing on day 1 and speaking on day 2. We have discussed everything that you guys need to know. Structure, the templates, the response to the question, the brainstorming, all these things are marked on when the examiner looks at your writing and speaking. However, we haven't discussed grammar, which we're going to discuss today, and vocab, which we will discuss tomorrow. Now, I'm going to explain to you guys how you can mark grammar by yourselves and improve it by yourselves. While I do that, I'm doing this because I understand not everybody can take lessons because of schedules and because of the fee. However, I truly believe it is 100% thing. You cannot improve grammar all on your own, or vocab for that matter, because you need someone to see what you're doing wrong and give you feedback on it. There are thousands of grammatical concepts, and you cannot learn all of them on your own. You really need some guidance. So either you're taught at school and you're lucky, but if you're not, and if this is your second language, you can contact me for lesson details and I'll be happy to help you out with that. However, with this crash course, the aim is to make you independent. So in this video, I'll try to explain as much as I can how you can do it yourselves. Let's talk about Grammarly. Grammarly. Grammarly is an amazing application for understanding your grammar mistakes. It's way better than Microsoft Word spell check. If you guys are thinking it's the same thing, it's not. Grammarly goes in a lot more detail. So I'd like you guys to download Grammarly, okay? And what you have done, if you're following the crash course properly, what you would have done on day 1 is write 10 writings, 5 task 1 and 5 task 2 that I asked you guys, right? So now copy that and paste it on Grammarly. When you do that, you will see everything that is wrong highlighted in red, and it'll show you suggestions on why it's wrong, okay? So now, for example, you've written a sentence, she gonna talk, or you say she going to talk. Let's write down she going to talk. Grammarly will point out that it should be she is going to talk. Now, this concept that you got wrong is a subject-verb concept. She is the subject, going is the verb. And you made a mistake there, so that means your subject-verb is not clear. So what you have to do is go online and check out some grammatical content, which I will mention where you can go. And you have to practice subject-verb related exercises. I'm gonna put in the description some of the best grammar links out there. There are gonna be links on prepositions, articles, grammar overall generally, and active, passive, and so on. You guys should really look into those links. If your problem is subject verb, if your problem is adjective, whatever your problem area is, and you see that Grammarly is marking that area more and more, you go to one of these websites, which are all great websites, the world's best websites probably. They're all in the description. Okay, so you click on them, try to practice that concept. The very first link that's on there, englishgrammar.org in the description, that has pretty much everything you need for grammar. So if you go on that website, you look at the left column, there are different topics, adjectives, commas, conjunctions, etc. Whatever your weak area is, click on that and you will see multiple exercises with many multiple choice questions. Now, when you click on these questions, you attempt an answer. If you're correct, you're good. You know that. If not, it will show you the answer. So all the links here, all the exercises have answers for grammar. You want to check first. Again, the step one is to put your writings on Grammarly, check the mistake, see what mistake you're making, and then go in these grammar links, try to figure it out what the mistake is and do the exercises for that mistake. You might have subject-verb mistakes, most common. You might have mistakes on commas, punctuation, could be anything like that. You might have mistakes on adjective usage. You know, you're saying she is happiness instead of she happy. So Grammarly will point it out, and then, you know, happiness is a noun, happy is an adjective. Maybe both are incorrect in your brain. So now you do a noun and an adjective exercise from the links below. So you want to use the links, and what we're trying to do is target our mistakes. Because if you really try to improve grammar overall, you would have to go through all the links, do all the questions, and that's going to take probably months, okay? Unless you have a lot of time. So it's better to see your mistakes, where you're weak at, and then go to these websites and correct them. However, for the most part, you wouldn't, if your level is above average, you wouldn't need to do the exercises on the website, but Grammarly, when it corrects you, you will know that, okay, this one was wrong, and I just gotta be more attentive next time. The other thing is proofreading. One of my business English teachers, business English, when I was learning this in college, he explained to me that when you read your resume, you will read it very fast and you will ignore the mistakes. But if you read someone else's resume, you will not. And that's natural. Try that sometime. You will notice that is so true. Because you read someone else's resume for the first time, that's one thing, and then you're reading with the intention to criticize, right? So you want to tell your friend, hey, you should add this, this, and this in your resume. But you are too nervous to do it to yourself because you're insecure that I don't want to make myself look like an idiot in front of my own eyes, right? But if you think of your writing as if it's the first time you're looking at it, you will be more attentive. Think of yourself as a teacher, because when I became a teacher, I started correcting people and I was looking more deep in their mistakes because I want to point something out. And then when I looked at my writings, I looked at them differently because now I'm looking at those as a teacher. So if you look at the writings as a teacher, feel that, you would imagine that you're looking at it for the first time and look at every single detail with the intention to criticize. Okay, so that's one thing. That will really change how you mark yourself. So proofreading for writing could be done that way. You might know a lot of grammar concepts, but you're still getting them wrong because you're not proofreading properly. So proofread in that manner, you'll find more mistakes. The other thing is for speaking. You cannot put anything from speaking on Grammarly, but it is going to take a while to do this. However, the only way you can check your grammar while speaking is record speaking, play it. Anything that doesn't feel right or anything you're unsure about, type it. You would have to type it on Grammarly. It'll tell you if it's correct or incorrect. Okay, so that's the way to make it work with speaking. Okay, the final thing, whatever you guys learn, how do you remember that info? With grammar, it's not important that you just learn it from one exercise. You have to really repeat it. For example, let's say you're saying that he see a bird, and then Grammarly says it should be he sees a bird. Now you know that S goes with he, and you repeat 10 times, you know, he sees a bird, fine. I'm guaranteeing you'll forget it the next day because you must have a habit of saying things incorrectly. You must have been saying he see, he do, he walk for a lifetime. How can it be fixed in one day? The only way to make it work is to make a habit of saying the correct thing. So what you gotta do is say multiple sentences with the same mistake, which means if you have said he see incorrectly, it should be he sees. Repeat he sees with multiple situations. So he sees a bird, he talks to a lady, he works in the shop, and so on. So what you're doing is now you're putting he and putting the S with different situations. Now try to change the he. Try to say Bob walks outside, Harry eats ice cream, etc. Now you're conditioning your mind into thinking about the subject and the verb correctly. And now you make multiple sentences. And don't stop on day one. This practice you have to do for 2 weeks. Grammar practice comes with repetitions over a 2-week period, at least 10 times a day. This is habit development. Habits usually develop in 30 to 40 days, but with English it's different. In English, 2 to 3 weeks are good enough. So at least try 2 weeks on grammar repetitions and conditioning your mind to making different sentences. This way, no matter what the situation is, if you go out and you look at two people and you say Bob, that's Bob, and that other guy he's talking to. So you can say Bob talks to Harry every day. Your lips and your mind will automatically say it because now you have trained yourself to use the correction with so many conditions. So try that, it works in a phenomenal way. So overall, the main thing is to put the resources at use, the links that are in the description, the Grammarly application. It's an amazing application, of course. And then work on repetitions, work on your mistakes. Speaking is a little longer. You have to record and play and type and then look at your mistakes. And if you're really unsure about your grammar, go on these links, do all the exercises you can, and you will learn lots. Other than that, once again, I'm going to finish on the note of learning grammar all by yourself is very difficult. So once again, if you are interested in any coaching or lessons or instructions, do let me know. Our website is www.HZadeducation.com. Other than that, you can stick here on YouTube and you will get a lot more details in the next few days. We have 4 more days to go with these lessons, and tomorrow we'll discuss how you can make good complex sentences with a good range and with amazing vocab that will blow the examiner's mind. For more tips and tricks, please subscribe to my channel. And until next time, this is Sean. It's been lovely talking to you guys. Talk to you again very soon. Hey guys, this is Sean from HZad Education, and today we're going to do the day 4 of our CELPIP Crash Course. Pretty exciting stuff we got to discuss today. By the way, if you didn't hear the exciting news we had yesterday on day 3, we have partnered with World Vision, and if you guys have any charitable donations, feel free to go on that link from the video yesterday from day 3, and you can also now make donations as part of your learning. It's just optional, but it's a great incentive if you do. Now, let's get started with what we have to do today for CELPIP. We will discuss vocabulary. All right, day 1, you guys did writings. Day 2, you guys did speaking. Now, day 3, yesterday, I asked you guys to review grammar, and I give some really good tips on how you can do that. So the writing and speaking you guys did. Now you have a suggestion. Now you have a way to review your grammar for writing and speaking. However, now comes the next step. Now it is the vocabulary. So when we do lessons, when we coach our students, and let's say someone purchases a 20-hour package, we start, first of all, with the first 5 hours or so with the template discussion and explanation and strategies. The next 10 hours-ish are based on feedback. So students write, and that's where we give feedback, and those are the most useful hours. Now, the feedback is the only thing that is missing in the crash course because, of course, we don't have your writings or speaking to look at. For that, we have lessons separately. But the first 5 hours of what we do, the strategy discussion and all of that, I have covered that. Feedback a bit, yeah, from the grammar practice that we did yesterday. You can kind of do self-feedback from now on. And the final stage, let's say the last 5 hours of the 20-hour package, if someone books it, we work on the vocabulary. Because once all the basics are fixed, once all the basics are done, you are able to get a score of 8 in CELPIP. So you write in a more than average fashion. You use the right templates, you have perfect grammar, but you'll still get 8. The reason you will not get 9 or more is because you need fancy vocabulary for that. So today we're going to discuss how you can improve your vocab, how you can proofread and start improving it from now on, and also like the short-term and the long-term strategies. Now, if you are having the exam in a month from now, at least 30 days, you should go with this strategy. Go to EnglishVocabularyExercises.com. I'll put the link in the description. Okay, so you go there, and that has a really good word list. That is my favorite website. Again, the link will be in the description. That website has words you can actually use. You know, a lot of word lists are difficult. You can't really put them in writing and speaking. That website has things you can actually use and even communicate with people in daily life. So you want to learn 10 new words each day. The best way to do this is learn 10 new words each day. Make a list of the 10 words and make multiple sentences out of each word. Okay? We at our channel also do this practice weekly. Every week, on a Monday, I upload 50 new words on our blog, and I upload a video describing those words. But that's not enough if you have a CELPIP exam. You should be learning 10 a day. Okay, so you learn 10 a day. You make multiple sentences with each word that you learn, and do it for 30 days. 300 words will be learned in 30 days if you do it properly. And if you do have time, go for 20 words a day, and so on. You wouldn't be able to use all of them, but at least even out of 300, if you can use 10 or 20 in writing and speaking, it's going to make a huge difference. So don't underestimate the power of doing this practice nonstop for a few weeks. If you have the exam in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, you shouldn't do that because you wouldn't be able to learn that many words, okay? And especially if you're looking at this video because you're doing a crash course, you have your exam very soon, again, you can now refer to my other strategies that I'm going to discuss now. So short term, let's talk about the words you want to avoid. This is also short term and long term, by the way. There are 10 words that are cursed when it comes to CELPIP and even IELTS writing and speaking. Examiners don't like these words. I'll tell you these words, get a pen and paper ready, and you want to write down synonyms for that. Because if you use the basic words, you will get a basic mark. And even if it's correctly used, the examiners are not impressed. These words tell the examiner that this is a basic student, doesn't deserve a 9. Okay? So, the first word is good. Never say good. Good is very basic, very common. That's why you shouldn't say it. So, good, instead of that, you can say spectacular, excellent, tremendous. Next word is bad. Instead of bad, you can say detrimental. Detrimental means harmful. You can say obnoxious if it is annoying or irritating, and you can say catastrophic. Okay, catastrophic. So like chaotic. Even you can use chaotic as well. Sad. Instead of sad, you should say gloomy, depressed, unsatisfactory. Fancier words. Happy. Instead of happy, you should say glad. The easiest replacement is glad. Every time you can say glad. Elated, and exhilarating. This could be used whenever you're mentioning someone is excited or extremely happy. It could be exhilarated. Okay, the next word is big. You can see these are so common, and that's why that's the problem. We don't want to use them. So word number 5 right now is big. Instead of big, you can say huge, large, and let me think. Overwhelming. So big could be used not just for structures, but let's say it's a big project. You can say it's an overwhelming project. Small. Next word, small. Instead of small, you want to say insignificant. If it's like a small matter, it's unimportant or insignificant. You can say tiny if it's about the size. You can say underestimated if it's, again, a small problem, so it's something that is underestimated by people. The next word is so. Very common to say so. Instead of so, and actually word number, I think we're at 7. Word number 7 and 8 are kind of the same. When we say so and that's why, these two words, avoid them too. Instead of these words, you want to say therefore, hence, as a result. Fancier words. Because, instead of because it's very common, you want to say since, due to, or as a consequence of. So since and due to you can pretty much use anytime when you have because. As a consequence of, you would use, let's say, I couldn't eat food because I was working. So I can say, as a consequence of working too much, I couldn't eat food. Just replacing because. I don't want to say because too much. And with and, we have discussed conjunctions before. It's on my channel. I've given an exhaustive list there, but I'll give you a little list here. For and, you can say furthermore, likewise, moreover, accordingly, for replacements. And if you want to do a little informal conversation, you can say as well as, on top of that, plus similarly. Okay, so better words to use. Use better words. Don't use basic words. These 10 words that I told you, they're the words of death. If you put them in your writing and speaking, you lose marks. You lose the impression. And especially if you're starting to write or starting to speak, and these are the first words you say, the examiner makes their minds and their mind, and they say, okay, this guy's not worth it. So better to use complex replacements. That brings us to point number 2, complex sentences. Now again, I have made a video on complex sentences. Complex sentences are where you use a sentence and break it into 2 parts. So for me, for example, if I want to say, I want to stay at home and be safe because of the lockdown outside. This is a simple sentence. Now, if I use the word given that, see what happens. Given that there's a lockdown outside, comma, I have to stay at home. Okay, so now I said given that at the start of the sentence, and I have broken the sentence into 2 parts. That makes it complex. Few people write like that, and that's why examiners like it. Examiners like unique things. They hate usual things. Don't be usual. So in order to do complex sentences, you need some keywords. Given that is one of them. You can write down the second one, since. The next one you can use considering, concerning, whether. So you can say whether, you can make 2 parts of it. Whether there is a lockdown or not, comma, people still want to have fun. So that's a complex one. I don't know if I said considering, but you can use considering as well. Given that, we have already discussed, and there are a few more. So there's much more detail of complex sentences that I have made in another video. You can check that out for more details. But the sentences, the words that I've given you right now, these 4 or 5 words, 4 to 6 words, they should be more than enough. If you use 2 of these words in your writing task 1 and writing task 2, and in every speaking section you do, use complex sentences at least once in each part, then your speaking and writing will get much better. Let me repeat this. In every speaking part, you have 8 speaking parts, right? You need to make 8 complex sentences. 1 complex sentence per speaking. In writing, you need to use 2 complex sentences, 2 in task 1, 2 in task 2. That's for CELPIP. This is more than enough to give you a great mark and make a great vocab impression. Now what you want to do is combine this with the template, okay? So you're combining the complex sentences with the template that already exists. I'm going to put the link of my templates again at the bottom of this video, so you don't have difficulty finding the templates. There's a video I made where I have explained where to find the template, so I'll put that link also in the description. The final thing is, let me see, connectors. Yes, okay, connectors. So connectors we have discussed pretty much. Instead of and, you can use furthermore, likewise, moreover, accordingly. Instead of firstly and secondly, you can also use these things. Firstly and secondly are bad, and on the one hand, on the second hand, or on the other hand, they're bad too. Everybody says that. So again, let's go to the connectors again. Furthermore, moreover, likewise, also, similarly, other than that, apart from that, what's more, on top of that, moreover, I think I mentioned, and that's pretty much it. I mean, there's more, and we have discussed in my other videos about connectors, but all you gotta do is use connectors in the writing templates. Now, writing template, when you see that, what I've explained there, in task 2 of CELPIP, the connectors are already there. You don't need to use more. In task 1 though, in that template, there is an intro and there's a conclusion. So I've made templates on that. I haven't made templates for the body paragraphs for task 1 because they're always different, so I can't make a template. So you try to use some connectors when you're making your own body paragraphs for task 1. Okay, so it's going to be useful there. In speaking, once again, same thing. Just like I recommended you use one complex sentence per speaking, use one connector per speaking. A lot of people think we have to use lots of connectors. The more the better, but you actually have very little time in CELPIP, like 1 minute and 90 seconds, so it's not much. So just use one connector and one complex sentence in each CELPIP speaking part. That is going to give you more vocabulary marks. Okay, so now, guys, what we have done is we have used complex sentences, connectors, replace all the 10 ugly, very common words with the fancier words. And if you did have extra time and you go over my 30-day practice, which is learn 10 words each day, make sentences out of them, then you'd be replacing a lot of basic words with fancy words as well. Okay? So you combine all of these things and use my templates on top of that, your vocabulary, your structure will come together beautifully. And again, grammar needs to be improved too. And for that, you can go back to my video from yesterday, day 3 of this crash course, and you will learn from there as well how to improve grammar. So you improve grammar, do the right template structure, and make the vocab correct. There should be no reason why you should get a lower mark. Okay? The final thing is, when you are doing this, start proofreading. Writing is going to be very easy for you to improve because when you proofread writing, at least from now on, when you see these 10 words, good, bad, that's why, you're going to fix it. Okay, so you can get rid of all those annoying basic words and put the good ones in there. At the same time, you see some other basic words. Let's say you were saying something like he did a great job, and great is basic too. So now you would think, how can I replace great job? You can say it was a phenomenal performance, right? So look at your writings and brainstorm, like, how could this word be better? How could this word be better? And think like that. Most likely you will use the same words in the exam, and at that point you would know the synonym because you practiced it. So you wouldn't need to think of those words in the exam. So look at writing that way. Speaking, you have to record and listen to it. When you listen and you see a sentence looks very basic, you say in a sentence, this is a small problem. And then you're like, wait, this is so simple, a small problem. And then you go Google synonyms for problem. You can say a small dilemma, a small issue, small technicality. And instead of small, we have discussed, you can say insignificant, underwhelming. So you can, what if that small problem sentence now becomes, this is an insignificant dilemma. Sounds much more fancy, right? So now you can listen to your recordings and analyze, and writings you can proofread and analyze, and use these techniques to help yourselves out, improve that vocab. And by having all these things, my templates, the complex sentences, the connectors, and the fancy words, you would achieve a range of sentences. Range of sentence mark comes in IELTS and CELPIP both. So by doing all of this, you will achieve that too. Try these things out, and I am certain this will help you out. Combine this lesson with all the other 3 days from before, and there are 3 more days remaining. So combine all of this together, you will see you have a whole new level of CELPIP writing and speaking. Next few classes, we're going to discuss reading and listening, so stay tuned. Please subscribe if you feel that I have added any value in your learning. And until next time, talk to you soon. Hello everybody, this is Sean, and today we're going to do the CELPIP Crash Course, day 5. So far, day 1, we have done writing, day 2, speaking, day 3, we did grammar, and day 4, which was yesterday, we did vocab. Now today we're going to discuss the reading part. Now this course, again, if you haven't been following this, please look at all my series of all these 7 episodes, 2 more to come, and this will have everything you need for CELPIP. This is the most comprehensive course online you would see anywhere, and it's for free. It's on YouTube. All right, so all you got to do is follow the strategies that I've mentioned, and you should be good. Of course, as I mentioned in pretty much every video, you might need some expert advice, and you can contact me for tutoring if that is the case. Now, today we're going to discuss reading because the first 4 days have heavily focused on writing and speaking. The reason for that is the many requests I get, it's always pretty much the same story. I've got a 10 and 11 in reading and listening, but an 8 in writing and speaking. And that's where most people fail, because writing and speaking are marked by humans, which is very subjective. So we have to do extra effort to make them happy. And that's why the first 4 days, the majority of this crash course was dedicated to writing and speaking. So please look at that. And the vocab, though, the one I taught yesterday, that is something that can be implemented in reading and listening as well. So if you're doing this just for writing and speaking, first 3 days of the crash course, listen to that. And if you're doing this for the reading and listening, you want to do day 4, day 5, and day 6, because today we're discussing reading, tomorrow listening. But no matter what you're doing, please listen to day 7, which will be on Monday, because that will wrap up my whole series, and I'm going to give you guys some final preparation tips and tricks, so that should be an important lesson. Now, today we're going to discuss reading, and we are not going to discuss strategies. I'm going to put the links of my reading videos here in the description. I've made 2 videos on reading, and I've explained all the strategies there twice. One is a short version, one is a detailed version. I would recommend listening to both, because you will get more ideas if you listen to both. However, strategy discussion, how you have to read the question, go up in the passage, find the answer, all of that is discussed already. I'm not going to discuss that today. It saves time that way. Today I'm going to discuss how you can practice this on your own, because that's the purpose of this crash course. If you're short on budget, you don't have the money for classes, or you just don't have the time to take classes, that's fine. The purpose is that with these instructions, you can just do it all on your own. So I'm going to give you guys some techniques. Please listen till the end of this video, because I'm going to first discuss what practices you can use to improve your reading. And at the end, I'm going to tell you why mistakes happen. Like when you follow all these things and you check your mistakes, what will you discover? So please wait till the end of this video, because that important part will be at the end. Without further ado, I don't like a lot of this introduction, but I've done so much. So let's get ahead. Strategies I've mentioned. Now, one thing that you have to do with reading is look at your mistakes. Okay, obviously, when you attempt all those reading parts, when you're practicing at home with your Paragon material or the free sample tests online, of course, check mistakes. This is something that people ignore. I don't know why. It's so important that you check. What people do is they see, okay, out of the 40 questions or so, I got 32 correct, so I'm getting a 7 in CELPIP or whatever the score is, and they go on and do the next test. I don't get that. If you do that, you will never learn what's wrong. So please, as a student, what you have to make sure is look at the mistake, what was wrong, go up in the passage, read the part where the mistake is wrong, and try to find out why it was wrong. Okay, you would understand, like once you see the answer and you match it, you will understand why it's wrong 9 out of 10 times. If you don't understand, what you guys can do is put your questions in the comments here. I would be more than happy to help out. I cannot guarantee I might have the time to check that part, but you guys can comment and ask yourselves as well. Use this forum to help each other out, and you can put a question, this was the answer to this question, I don't understand, and then someone can explain. Hopefully that someone will be me if I have enough time, hopefully. Okay, so check your answers and see what's going on. The other thing in CELPIP is vocabulary. This is one of the main causes of mistakes. An average student makes at least 3 mistakes in the exam because of bad vocabulary. So there are some options in the multiple choice questions, and the correct option is a difficult word you don't know, and you won't pick it because you don't know that word. So vocab is a big thing. Now vocabulary, go to my day 4 of this course, the video I uploaded yesterday that mentions what you can do to improve your vocab. Vocab is an ongoing process, right? So you learn 10-20 words a day, which is what I mentioned in my video, and you will learn lots in a few weeks, and that will help you improve the reading, because not only in the questions but also in the paragraphs you see some difficult words. Only if you know the meaning of certain words, only then you understand the passage. So there's no way out there but to improve your vocab. Of course, the other thing you can do, especially if your exam is too close, you don't have time to improve your vocab, is see the tone of the essay or the passage. So there is this passage and there is this word augmentation. Okay, so what they were saying is that this lady is trying to make clients satisfied, focusing on lifestyle augmentation. Now, I don't know what augmentation means. So, well, I'm just gonna try to make sense of the story. This lady's focusing on making lives better, having people satisfied. So lifestyle augmentation would be boosting up their lifestyle or making their lifestyle better, right? So I have to see the tone, I have to see the overall understanding, and then I can skip some vocab. But if I knew that augmentation means improvement or increasing or making it better or boosting, I would get that much faster. So I do want to practice vocab, but I can also infer from what the passage is saying. Okay, the second thing is paraphrasing. So again, paraphrasing, I have mentioned that before in my videos, how you can do that. I'll give you another example if you haven't seen my paraphrasing or reading related videos. The things that are going to be mentioned in the question will be said differently in the passage. So if the question is saying, you know, how does John feel? And there are a few options: happy, sad, disgusted, whatever. There's this option, happy. Okay, and that is the correct answer. But you don't pick it because the passage didn't say the word happy. The passage said the word sad. But that was not John's feeling. The word sad, he was sad, was mentioned somewhere else. What was actually mentioned about John's feeling was that John was looking forward to this new project with hopes and desires and fulfillment. Now, this is the same thing like being happy. He has a positive, happy outlook at this project, but we won't pick it because it's not the same word. However, you have to paraphrase. So you have to paraphrase the question, you have to paraphrase the multiple choice options that are given, and then look at the passage. So when you see my reading strategies, I always say look at the question and then go in the passage. That's what you do. Look at the question, paraphrase that a little bit, and then go in the passage trying to match them. Then you will see it much faster because the exact word, it's hard that you will find the exact word. The other thing is elimination. Elimination is super important for CELPIP among all the exams I teach because in CELPIP you have sometimes two correct answers. So make sure if you pick option B, you eliminate option A, C, and D. Okay, so you want to get rid of the wrong option so you're more sure about your option. Now, revision, of course, practice, guys. Use a lot of Paragon material or your own material, whatever you have, and practice. Revise every day pretty much, but it depends. You know, if your level is 10 or 11, maybe focus more on writing and speaking. But if you're struggling, of course, accordingly, revise and practice. Practice is the biggest thing that will help you in reading. Now, question, where can you practice, right? You can purchase Paragon materials. You can ask me about materials as well. Most of our materials come with our classes, especially reading and listening, but I can give you some details about that. My email is always in the description, and so is my website. Now, what you can do, here's a great strategy. IELTS materials, IELTS, if you haven't heard of that exam. IELTS materials are everywhere online. You can use them. Let me tell you how. In CELPIP, all questions are multiple choice. So when you do IELTS reading, all you have to do is answer the multiple choice questions from the reading sections. Just do the multiple choice of IELTS. And in CELPIP Part 3, it's matching paragraphs. IELTS has that too. So when you're doing IELTS readings, do those questions, matching paragraphs. You can ignore the, the fill in the gap questions, true, false, ignore them. Do the CELPIP format with the IELTS material. First of all, it's better because it's harder. The IELTS material is harder when you do it in the CELPIP format. Second of all, there is tons of IELTS material. So you can use that whenever you don't have materials. Finally, let's talk about mistakes. When you guys check your mistakes, you will realize most mistakes happen if you are unable to find the keyword in the passage. The way to fix it is to use paraphrasing, as I've mentioned. That's one thing you would notice in your mistakes. Second thing you would notice is speed. If you're too slow, the only answer for that is practice. Practice will make you faster. The other thing is vocabulary. We have discussed that too. You would notice you make mistakes because sometimes you don't get the right word, the meaning, or the vocabulary. So practice learning 10-20 words each day, like I mentioned on my day 4 of this crash course. So please refer to that video for that. And what else? Not reading the right part, speed is one, not eliminating. Yeah, so a lot of times we see that A is the correct answer and we don't even look at B, C, D. So eliminating is a key too. So when you guys revise your mistakes and you follow the steps, you will realize these are the mistakes you're mostly making. And when you realize them, remember in this last minute or so, the ways I have explained you guys to fix them. Okay, I hope this helps, and I hope with this you know the right way, the right pattern, and the right resources to use materials from. That's it for today, and tomorrow we're going to do listening practice. Until then, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. If not, feel free to subscribe and support this channel. Talk to you guys very soon. Take care. Hey guys, hope you guys are doing good. This is Sean from HZad Education. Today we're going to have day 6 out of 7. We're almost at the end of this wonderful crash course. I'm not bragging, okay, but this is the best course anywhere online. So anything that has to do with CELPIP, comprehensive summary, and crash course, you guys should really be listening to this whole series. Share it with your friends, listen to it again and again, the 7 days, and you will find lots of useful techniques. And again, if you guys find some better resource, please provide that in the comments. But I know CELPIP, and I haven't seen any person, any channel mentioning all these tips. So guys, once again, for your preparation, listen to this 7-episode series and share it with your friends, like and subscribe. It's going to help you out and others out as well. Now, today we're going to do listening. Listening because we have completed so far writing, speaking, vocab, grammar, and reading yesterday. So today, while we discuss listening, I am not going to explain the strategies. The reason is a lot of you have listened to them already on my channel. If you haven't, I'm going to put the links in the description below. I have a detailed version and a quick version. Please look at both of those. The detailed version is my longest video. It was about 30 minutes long that I put on listening. So you will find tons of strategies if you're looking for strategies. In CELPIP, note-taking is the way to go. So if you know how to take notes, you can do a good job. However, today I'm going to talk about how you can work on listening all by yourselves when you're at home. What kind of resources you should listen to, and how you can train your brain and ears to hear, as well as your hands to write. Because you're going to take notes, lots of them. So once again, in CELPIP, let's get started. In CELPIP listening, the main idea is writing. The best students who get the best marks in listening are the ones who are taking lots of notes. In parts 1 to 3, I say listen more, avoid note-taking too much because you have to focus on listening. And they're quick parts. But from parts 4, 5, and 6, the more you write, the better it is, because it's so much that you won't remember everything. So you have to write down as much as you can. If you simply imagine writing everything down, everything is in front of you, and then they ask you a question, it will just all be on your notes. So the more you write down, the better it is. That's the secret. And there's, again, some techniques to take notes, and how you would do that, links are in the description. Okay, now let's get started with how you can practice this by yourself. Well, you can practice the free sample materials on Paragon. You can purchase materials from them. You can also purchase materials from us, but they mostly come as part of our classes. So if you want some if you want some coaching and then you want the free material as part of that, do let me know. My email is always in the description. Now, on your own, what you can do is not listen to news. A lot of people unfortunately think listening to news is a good thing. It is for English practice, not for CELPIP practice. It's a different thing. In CELPIP, you have 2 or 3 people talking, having a conversation, and questions are usually based on the way the conversation is done. So, how did this person feel? Is this person positive or negative? Or how did this person respond to that person? Like, now you need to know if they were happy with the other person or they're arguing. You need to know how people communicate. In order to know this, news is not a good source because you're just listening to one person talk. You should listen to 2 people talking naturally, because CELPIP communication is natural. So when you are listening to the exam, you have people having expressions and phrases and idioms, day-to-day idioms. Do you guys know what it means when someone says, "Is that right?" Think about it. Is that right? So, you're a salesman and you're selling a car, and you tell the person that you drive this car, it's going to make you feel like a millionaire. The other person says, "Is that right?" That's not really a question, okay? They're not really asking you, "Are you sure?" They're actually mocking you. It's sarcasm. "Is that right?" means, I don't believe you. You're just making up stuff. It's just a rhetorical sentence to say. So if you don't know that, if you don't know the expression, if you don't know the North American expressions, you will not get the idea in CELPIP, because sometimes they're trying to have some comedy, which is really not that funny. And sometimes they're trying to be really serious with really, very focused expressions, very serious. So it's to the point sometimes. And you need to differentiate when we're being serious, when we're being sarcastic, when we're being funny. You would know this when you see communication and practice that between people. The best resources that you can have are interviews. Interviews on YouTube. Just type your favorite celebrity's name, whoever you want to listen to, and their interview. Okay, so Michael Jackson interview. Now you listen to two people talking, like late night TV shows like Conan O'Brien, Jimmy Kimmel, or Ellen, or Oprah. Now you hear people interacting, and they mostly are talking about funny stuff, so you will get a lot of day-to-day expressions, and you would understand how they're communicating, where the emphasis is, where the sarcasm is. That is really going to help. Plus, mix that up with comedy shows. So comedy shows like Friends, Big Bang Theory, all those things, listen to them as well. They also use a lot of phrases in day-to-day life, which you will hear in the CELPIP exam. Those things are the best resources to train your mind, not news. Don't listen to news. It's also very negative, so not good for your brain. The next thing we have is, okay, comedy shows, we talked about that. Imagine this. If you are in a coffee shop with 3 other friends, okay, so I'm trying to talk about part 5 here of CELPIP, when you have 3 people and you're the 4th person listening, right? Do you forget things that the friends are talking about? No, never. It never happens. You never really need to take notes when you are talking in a coffee shop with people, and you mostly remember everything that is being said. Why is that? The reason is you are the 4th person. You expect that they're going to talk to you, that you are responsible for responding, and our attention is always there because we're interested. We're a part of this conversation. Sometimes our 3 friends are talking and our turn to talk comes after a few minutes. Just assume that you are the 4th person sitting with them and you're going to say the next thing. And well, they're cutting you off, they're talking right now, but just imagine that you're the 4th person sitting there and listening. When you imagine this, you will feel responsible, really accountable and interested to listen to what they're saying, and you will be surprised at how much you can get in your brain. So just be a part of the conversation. Imagine like you have to respond next and give your opinion, and you will listen more carefully. It's a strange thing, but as I said, imagine you being in a coffee shop. Wouldn't you pay attention? And you would pay attention naturally. So we want to train our mind to do that. The next thing is writing fast. So you got to practice your writing speed. Your CELPIP materials will be limited as well, even if you purchase them from Paragon. If you have hours to practice this, what you should do is, again, go on an interview, and when you play that video on YouTube, start taking notes. Start practicing writing and listening very fast. Okay, do them simultaneously because your writing speed will determine how much notes you take, and those notes will help you answer the questions. You can never tell what kind of notes are important. You know, sometimes that's why they're tricky. Sometimes the really important stuff, which is mentioned with emphasis and slowly, is an answer. Sometimes the answers are things that you wouldn't even care about. You know, it's mentioned for 2 seconds and it's going to help you answering a question. So you have to write down every single thing, whatever you can. We don't know which notes are going to help us. So you write them down. For that, you need speed. So listen to the YouTube interviews and practice writing at the same time. Now, another thing, when you guys practice this, play some other noise on the side. So on my laptop, I have YouTube playing, right? I'm listening to my interview. On my phone, I'm gonna play something. Let's say I'm gonna play Barack Obama's speech. I'm gonna distract myself. Why I'm gonna do that is because a lot of students, when they go in the CELPIP exam, they don't know this and they realize it there, and they're so off their game when this happens. Other people are talking, right? So when you're doing the listening exam, either there are other people who are talking. Usually that doesn't happen because listening and speaking parts are very far apart, but it can happen. Someone might be at speaking, you will be at listening. You will hear them talk. That will distract you. You will see the invigilator moving around the room. That will distract you. You will hear typing, you will hear all sorts of noises, and that distracts people. And that's why if you practice distraction while listening at home, you will not fear that in the exam. You'll be way more prepared in the exam. Okay, so that's something you can do with practice as well. Another thing, I mentioned yesterday, if you don't have enough reading material for CELPIP, look at the IELTS reading material. Do it in the CELPIP format. Same thing with listening. When you go on YouTube, you can easily type IELTS listenings. There are thousands of those. Now what you do is simply play the audio, don't look at the questions, just play the audio, take notes. When there's a pause, then look at the questions and answer them. They'll be in a different format, but essentially you're training your brain and hands to have the same performance. Okay, so in IELTS, the questions are in front of you when you're listening. All you have to do, don't look at the questions, just play the audio, write notes. When there's a pause, pause the video, and then look at your notes to answer questions. Simple. So you don't need to even buy material, you can do it this way. Distraction, we talked about that. And the final thing is listen again before. Okay, this is interesting. When you guys are practicing at home, of course, do some tests the way you would do it in the exam and then check answers. If you have more time though, it is going to be hugely beneficial for you to listen to a listening part and answer the questions. And these answers are your final answers. You don't get to change them. But listen one more time. Okay, listen one more time and then answer again and make a separate answer list. Now go to your answers, check them, and see which list was correct, the first list or the second list. You will realize a lot of things about you this way, because when you listen to a part the second time, you start to understand the second time, I caught this, I missed this, and maybe I was too busy writing this, so that's why I missed this. And that's why you would notice differences in both answers, in both answer lists, when you listen to it the first time and the second time. So try to practice each listening twice and compare answers. You would learn a lot about your brain and about your performance. Try doing that, it'll amaze you. Okay, that's about it. Strategies, again, the main thing, strategies, which I haven't discussed, they are in the description here. Combine my strategies video with this video, it's going to be about like 40 minutes long of practice. So you have tons of stuff from my side on listening. I hope that helps. If it does, please subscribe, please like and comment. And if you have any questions, again, feel free to comment. Until next time, this is Sean, and tomorrow we're going to do our day 7, our final day of training. Hope this series helps you guys out, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Take care. Hey guys, hope you guys are doing good. This is Sean from HZad Education. Today we're going to discuss vocab and the CELPIP Crash Course final day, day 7. If you guys haven't been following what we have been doing something pretty amazing. All the last 6 days, we have discussed everything you need to know for CELPIP. I have provided you guys really good links where you can perfect that level even further and make yourselves better in the exam. Today, day 7, I'm going to wrap up the whole exam beautifully, where I can tell you what you can do next on your own and just figure out the best ways to proceed. However, it's Monday. Every Monday we have our vocab practice, and it's a great practice. I don't want to sacrifice that for anything. So we'll start with vocab. Even if you're doing CELPIP, please listen to it. And we're going to do 10 words today, not the usual 15, because we have less time. We got to discuss the crash course as well. Now, these words, once again, I write all of them down in my blog, and the description of the blog is always in the link. So please check that out. And without further ado, word number 1 today, postpone, P-O-S-T-P-O-N-E. Postpone means to delay. So if I delayed my appointment with the doctor, I'm postponing the appointment. The spelling, P-O-S-T-P-O-N-E, is important because people know this, but they cannot write it. So try using it for your writing. Word number 2, conceal, C-O-N-C-E-A-L. Conceal means to hide. So you conceal your pimples, you conceal the truth, you hide it. Number 3 is swap, S-W-A-P. Swap is to exchange. So I swapped my money with your currency, we're exchanging it. Number 4 is exhaust, E-X-H-A-U-S-T. It means to use something. So I exhausted all the food I had in the kitchen because I was really hungry. 5 is shrink, S-H-R-I-N-K. Shrink means 2 things. One is shrinking, making something smaller. So your clothes can shrink if you put them in the washer dryer every day. And shrink also means doctor. Now, it's an informal word for a doctor or a psychiatrist, mostly used in the US. And people would say, have you seen your shrink? It means, have you seen your doctor? Not really something you want to say with a formal person, but informally, yes. Number 6 is tremble, Tremble. Tremble means to shake. So I trembled in fear when it was the earthquake. Mostly it's shaking in fear. Number 7, soak, S-O-A-K. Soak means to make something wet. So instead of me saying that I'm going to make this cloth wet, I'm going to say I'm going to soak it in water, meaning I'm going to make it wet. Word number 8 is timid, T-I-M-I-D, means shy. So if you're a timid person, you're shy, you can't talk to people, you're an introvert, most likely. Number 9 is to urge someone, U-R-G-E. Urge means to persuade. Next time you want to say persuade or convince, use the word urge. Urge is more fancy, and I can say I urged the cashier to give me a discount. Persuade. Number 10, agitate, A-G-I-T-A-T-E. It means to disturb or alarm someone. So the email from my lawyer agitated me, made me nervous, made me alarmed or shocked or disturbed. And that's our 10th word, which wraps up our vocab, short vocab lesson here. And if you guys just follow this channel for CELPIP, that's great, but please look at the vocab lesson because CELPIP vocab is equally as important, as I mentioned on my crash course. Now, if you exclusively tuned in for vocab is all done. If you have any questions, feel free to comment. Please subscribe and show your love. Otherwise, if you're here for CELPIP Day 7, let's get started. Day 1, we have covered writing. Day 2, speaking. Day 3, vocabulary, or was it grammar? Day 4 was vocab, one of the two. Day 5 was reading. Day 6 was listening. And if you guys haven't looked at those days, this is what you're missing. So please look at them. You will understand how to practice, what to practice on, the strategies to practice with, and what resources you can use. Now today, we're not discussing strategies. In fact, throughout this crash course, I haven't discussed strategies because mostly my videos have all the strategies, and for every day, I have put the links in the descriptions where you can see the strategies. So if you're looking for a listening strategy, go to day 6, and in the description, you have the strategies. This course is more focused on what you can do because you're probably learning at home all by yourself. So there are some techniques that you can use. Now, let's get started with the material. So material, again, you can purchase it from Paragon. You can use a lot of IELTS material and combine it in the CELPIP format to practice the same thing. How you have to do that, I have explained them in my video, so please look at this crash course series to understand. Now, writing and speaking, you want to devote 70% of your time to writing and speaking, 30% to reading and listening. So this is for people who haven't done this exam before because you will be surprised how difficult writing and speaking are. 70% time of all your practice should be given to that, 30% to reading and listening. Now, if you have done the exam and you're one of those unique cases who actually scored amazing on writing and speaking but terrible on reading and listening, just change the percentage, change the formula. You would know based on your marks, right? But for people who are trying this for the first time, you want to dedicate 70% time to writing and speaking and 30% or maybe even lesser to reading and listening. The reason I'm saying this is, guys, I get calls from people who say that they have got 12 in reading and listening and 7 in writing and speaking. So you see what I mean? You need more time with writing and speaking. Okay, review my material. That's what I wrote down here. My material on YouTube is, if you guys haven't used it in the exams, you guys don't know the experience of the people who have. If you simply use my material, my templates, my strategies, you will have a phenomenal exam. I'm not just saying this because I want to make myself look good. Trust me, just believe in the stuff that I teach you here on YouTube. You'll be surprised how much that changes your marks. So review my material. My material is the most highly recommended thing I'll provide you, because if you see anything online, especially you compare this crash course with anything else online, you will see there's nothing like this. The details we go in, they're very specific. They teach you everything, like literally what words you have to use, what you have to say in every line. So make sure to review my material on YouTube and especially this crash course. The next thing is for reading and listening, you can again use IELTS material, mix it with CELPIP. I have mentioned that before in this series how to do that. You can purchase material from Paragon. You can take our classes, and with our classes you get a lot of material for free. With our classes, I was also going to mention that writing and speaking, you can write and speak, and there will be nobody to judge. I have mentioned techniques on how you can judge yourself, but it will be extremely difficult. So even if you want to take just one class just to figure out which level you're at, let me know. A teacher can properly assess your writing and speaking, and with individual feedback, they can make a huge difference. So we offer that. Let me know if you guys are interested. Okay, listening distraction. I don't know if I mentioned this or not. Oh no, that was from before. You know what? I made another page for today. Okay, reading. How do you practice reading? I have mentioned that before in my video, but this day 7, what I'm gonna give you guys here is for people who have many days left for their exam. If your exam is tomorrow or next week, you just have to follow whatever I have given you on the first 6 days. Now, if you're one of those fortunate people who at least have 2 or 3 weeks, do the strategies that I'm going to teach you now. So you guys need to read newspapers. Okay, newspapers are really academic. They have difficult words, and they have the same paragraph format that CELPIP has. So it has the topic sentence, it has description, and the next idea in the next paragraph. So reading newspapers will help you sharpen your reading skills. When you face a difficult word in newspapers, Google it. You will learn vocab that way too. The other thing is, I mentioned in the listening day yesterday, listen to interviews of your favorite celebrities on Jimmy Kimmel Show, late night shows like that, and listen to comedy TV shows. CELPIP listening is based on real-life human interaction, expression, and communication. So if you listen to these specific things, interviews of people, and natural conversations which are done in comedy TV shows, you will be able to catch up on the listening. The other thing is, long-term, the vocab and grammar have to be constantly improved. You know, if the examiners don't see any mistakes, they will just target your vocab and say words could be better. But it'll be the best thing for them if you put grammar mistakes. Now they have all the grammar mistakes, now they can easily deduct your marks. So grammar and vocab are long-term topics. I won't go into the detail on how you can learn them, but I'm going to say make a target each day to learn vocab and grammar. How you can learn them is mentioned in my day 3 and day 4 of this crash course. Okay, sample essays. I'm going to put a link for some really good sample essays for IELTS, not for CELPIP. There are not many resources available, unfortunately, for CELPIP. There's a link, though, for IELTS Band 8 out of 9 essays. Please look at them. If you guys look at those kinds of questions, you will understand the level that is needed, the vocab, the sentence structure that is needed for a good mark. So that can be applied. That thinking, that logical sentence structure can be applied to CELPIP. And I'm going to put that link in the description so you guys have the idea of how to do good writings. Okay? I don't know if you guys have heard of Tony Robbins and, of course, Barack Obama. These guys are some of the best public speakers in the world. Them and everybody on TED Talks, YouTube, TED Talks, there's some amazing public speakers there. So listen to them. And this is not a listening practice. This thing I wrote down for you guys so that you use this for speaking. So you're doing speaking, you're not taking lessons, you want to self-assess, right? Record yourself. Play yourself and play Barack Obama. Play Tony Robbins. Play TED Talks. Hear the difference. If you don't sound like those people, you're not going to score good in the speaking. If you sound like them, you have a pretty good chance. So that's for your speaking practice. The other thing you can do is ask your friends and family for help. Talk to them, practice speaking, practice writing. I'm going to tell you guys one really cool thing at the end of this video. But yeah, with this for now, friends, talk to them, and you can discuss mistakes, you can discuss writing strategies, you can discuss, you know, maybe your friend is not doing CELPIP. You can just show them your writing in 1 week, and after 2 weeks, show them another writing. Ask them, do you see improvement? Do the same thing with speaking. If teachers cannot help, friends can. But again, if you do have the budget for teachers, do let me know. Revise the vocab and grammar. So the grammar exercises and the vocab exercises that I mentioned on my day 3 and day 4 of this crash course, you want to revise them too. Like if you look at those links and forget about them, you will forget about all the concepts. So you do those exercises that I mentioned in 1 week, and at the end of the week, revise. Test yourself on those things. Do you still remember that or not? So that'll help you with the progress, and you also can make a progress report. I mean, this one is pretty common sense. You can write down your previous writings, score yourself, ask a friend to score you. Same thing with speaking. 2 weeks later, try it again, see how you're progressing. Okay, the final thing is the speaking partner program. All right, I'm done with this list. I was writing this all down for the 7 days, but now the speaking partner program that I have built on this platform, I mentioned this a few days ago. You guys can contact me. I can assign you a friend or partner for speaking who can just talk to you for free. I just get to organize the session between you guys. I don't charge anything for it. And you guys can then make friends, talk to people, practice speaking, and also learn different things from different candidates. So I have this really good pool of CELPIP candidates who are participating in this. You can make friends and discuss CELPIP speaking with them, usual speaking with them, just for ESL practice even. And you guys can then also talk about writings. You know, you and your peer can get each other to check writings for yourselves. So this way you can have someone constantly motivating you, supporting you. And I understand if the lessons are too much for you to pay, this is a pretty good way to join my CELPIP community of students like yourselves and practice and benefit from that. But of course, budget-wise, if you do take the lessons, they are extremely cheap. So again, let me know if you guys need more info. I don't like to do too much promotion in my YouTube videos for my lessons. It sounds like I'm just doing it for my lessons. However, I know how important lessons are. That's why I can't help but when I give all the strategies, I always mention this since this is probably the most important one. Anyway, that ends our crash course today. I hope you guys liked it. I know I saw your comments here and there, and they were pretty good, pretty inspiring. So thank you guys for motivating me, for pushing me to make more videos, and I hope this series helps you out. Play it again, share it with your friends. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I have a lot of unanswered comments, but I will get to them very soon. I promise you that. Thank you again. Please subscribe if you like this video, and I'll talk to you guys very soon. Take care.